a joke. What do a pen, a bunch of flowers, and a middle-aged man have in common? They're more likely to be found at a negotiating table than a woman. You know, that's not really like a joke, and that's why it's the world's worst joke, because in sad reality, that's true.
Statistics on formal peace negotiations show that to date, only 9% of negotiators have been women, and only 4% of witnesses and signatories are women. Yet at the grassroots level, women are heavily involved in peace building, frequently using mediative practice in their day-to-day work. The island of Ireland provides numerous examples of this. However, women working in grassroots mediation are rarely recognised within statistics on mediation. In fact, women who regularly use mediative practice in their peace-building work rarely even recognise themselves as mediators.
For me, mediation offers a great way to develop empathy, but also allow people to listen to each other in an active way. Sometimes we say we listen, but listening is about not only listening with our ears, but listening with all our senses.
When there's conflict, it's broken relationships. And for me, mediation is restoring right relationships.
Things, if you have a good relationship with somebody, you've humanised them, then you're more likely to be able to go and have that conversation if anything happens.
The mediation tool helps to actually identify the issues and explore further with curiosity.
Obviously, the theory of mediation is around, an outside person or organisation or individual coming in and sort of helping to resolve a conflict, whereas I think peace building is more about what caused the conflict or the violence in the first place. While peace building and mediation are two distinct theories or aspects, there's no way that they cannot cross over and interlink with each other.
In my work in West Africa, women, they're mediating, they're negotiating every day, but they don't see themselves as mediators.
Yeah, it is similar. That's what we were thinking in Somalia, but what I had learned also from Ireland and the people of the North Island as well, I think we have the same issue. The women, they're doing the job, they're doing the work. We were not saying it was mediation. We were saying a grassroots women who are going to build the peace and be part of the process of peace building and reconciliation.
If we look at the different approaches to deal with conflict, such as conflict management, conflict resolution, conflict transformation, and conflict prevention, in all those phases, mediation plays a very, very important role in addressing underlying issues, creating spaces for dialogue, and creating, hopefully, solutions identified by the parties involved. Women play a very important role in all these phases. For me, what women bring to the negotiation table is, first of all, they are part of civil society. And as members of civil society, an important sector of civil society, they should be represented. They should be there.
So I think that women not only bring a gendered perspective, but they bring so much more than that. They bring a community perspective. Women throughout conflicts, throughout peace-building processes, are to the fore of communities. They are the mothers nurturing families. They are the women who are providing support to other women and many of the members within the community.
There are a lot of women come into the Shankill Women's Centre and we hear everything that's happening in those communities. Surely that's a bonus to be sitting at a table.
it is not about excluded men and boys from the platform, but it's giving them a complementary supports and of a well-being for everybody to be inclusive, equality and justice.
Within Tides, we've always tried to have diversity of mediators, and I think that we think that's really important. So it's not just that we want women, but actually we need women and men mediating together, because we do see things in such a different way, and that's really helpful.
They bring their capacity to organize, their capacity to multitask, their capacity to listen maybe other things that may not be listened to, and to empathize with things that maybe others won't be able to empathize. They might be a little bit more flexible and to see different ways out in a very creative way. They may bring humor just to lighten up when tension rises.
It brings me back to remembering about how hard it was at the start when I started working with the armed groups, because I would say to them, I want you to wear the balaclava, I don't want to see your face, because I was so afraid of them being arrested and of me being blamed and, of telling or touting, as the term was. And I remember, because we as women, we also hosted meetings, so there was no such thing as just having a meeting. Yeah. We had our tea and we had biscuits out. I mean, they would come in and who was behind the mask, but that didn't matter, because you had an idea. Yeah. But you were setting it up in such a way that you felt safer, and you were hoping they would feel safer.
The reason I'm involved so heavily in peace building and this mediation work is the influence of female role models that have brought me and supported me and encouraged me into this work. I think the context of when I grew up was important. So it was around that, mid-early 90s. You had the ceasefire, you had the talks process. We had people like Monica McWilliams, the Women's Coalition, out campaigning, this real sense of inspiration and aspiration. You had Mo Molan, who was, the epitome of taking charge of possibly a bunch of rowdy men.
Bringing women to the negotiation table is very important for equality purpose, for diversity and for inclusion. It's not about tokenism, it's about recognize the very important role that they play in society, their contribution, their leadership, their participation. So we need to actually foster those leaderships in order to create societies where women may be and will be sitting at key positions in peace processes.
One of the tools, of many tools, is visualization, which is very, very powerful, because the more that you visualize what it is you want to be, the more it becomes a reality. And that would be one that would be very powerful, that women now, not just women, but women in particular, can visualize what they want for their kids, what they want for their grandkids, so they bring their future into their present.
I use images as a tool to facilitate people's understanding of each other, which works especially well, of course, if there's language barriers or other impediments. And I suppose in conflict settings, live visualization works as a live mirror to the process, to hold people to account to what they're saying. In conflict, I suppose there's always different perspectives, and by visualizing those different perspectives, we can really help people see what the other party means, to show the diversity of truths and to demonstrate what the truth looks like from the perspective of the other party.
But what I think for me is the most valuable tools is building a rapport. So if I'm involved in some sort of mediation or mediative process or mediative approach, I always try and take a bit of time to build a rapport with either the group but also the individuals within the group.
Another tool that I've used in my mediation peace-building practice has been the arts. And this applies not only to Colombia, but also to other places where I've been in Africa, in Asia. Listening and creating a space for conversation is important. So the arts, for me, offer a very important space and give people the opportunity to heal, but also to develop their own creativity and their own resources to cope better with violence, with the conflict around them, with the disagreement that may exist in their own daily lives.
A lot of the spaces that I have worked in have been very much male dominated. The structures of peace building, of conflict prevention, conflict management, of mediation have largely been male dominated.
There's that challenge as a woman of being treated in a polite way.
Yeah.
Where, yes, you know, come alongside us, but we're not really listening to you.
Bringing women to the table may bring some challenges. If they are young, they may have time constraints because of young families and looking for childcare, and also in terms of maybe confidence. They might need to be supported in terms of and fostered, enhanced to actually develop their leadership capacities.
There's a lot of stuff that we need to do, but we are very time poor. We don't have the time to do what we need to do. Another one of our challenges is women are being caught in the poverty trap.
Being in Zimbabwe and having quite a few of the men making the assumption that I was fair game and wanting to marry me because I was white and from the West and single. Well, that's funny at one level. It didn't happen to the men, you know. There was never a time where they had people coming to their door, and it's a different challenge that as a woman I had that they had, and a perception that exists, and that's culturally that's nothing I was projecting, and certainly my behaviour wasn't making anybody think that I was out looking for a husband. I don't think.
A challenge that women can face as well is to be seen and recognized as leaders in their community. So having the capacity to stand and to be able to defend their positions is very important. And when they become very vocal, which is the case sometimes, risk may be another challenge because they may be exposed to threats, intimidation, even attacks, and that we know that happens.
In the earlier days of my peace building, where you were a volunteer, people knew who you were, they knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And I remember after holding a public meeting in our parish and going up the next day with my little son, this man just turning to me as I came out the door of the school, and he just spat on me, and he just said, "You're betraying us, a typical woman." And I remember being shocked by that, being shocked that somebody would spit on me, but also being shocked about saying, you know, you're a typical woman in betrayal. And I thought, what has being a woman got to do with betrayal?
One of the benefits to creating a network across the island of Ireland would be the opportunity that it gives to share experiences, that there's the opportunities for women like myself to learn from those more experienced, those more skilled mediators and women involved in peace building, and also too that at some point my capacity is built to the level that I will be able to encourage younger women to become involved in peace building and mediation.
An all-Ireland network of women mediators and peace builders of all different kinds.
Yeah.
Ireland is well known across the world of putting in peacekeepers, and if we could be putting in peace builders alongside the peacekeepers, it would just be so beneficial.
A network would be a way to recognize the diversity of the experience of women in mediation and peace building in the island of Ireland. We know that there's a wealth of experience in the north of women working in mediation and peace building because of, obviously, the situation of conflict in that part of the island. In the south as well, there are women with experience, and also we have another sector, another group that are not from the country, coming from places where they have experienced conflict and violence. So altogether, a network including all these very valuable experiences may be a very rich resource to have.
This is also a platform where the women who came from the conflict settings live in Ireland, their role and experience to be recognized, which has not have been done before.
Also the opportunity to maybe attend training, events, to form a collective voice. I think that would be the thing I would add, and work collaboratively for the inclusion of women across Ireland, and also share experiences at an international level.
A network of women mediators in Ireland can actually offer opportunities to make women more visible, to participate in other peace processes.
I think this network can create a platform where we all connect together and share information, share power, share an understanding and solidarity, where also we connected to the regional efforts in Europe and other parts of the world.
I've been doing this for years, and I want somebody at some stage to go, they have a point, she has a point, let's give them a go, let's see what we can do.